start. There. Welcome to another edition of Let's Play WWE 2015. We are rolling with the webcam tonight, as this is the first time I'm actually recording an episode of this Let's Play series during Monday Night Raw. The reason for this is, well, actually, there's no reason for this, other than the fact that I had more interest in recording than I did in watching the main event WWE had planned for this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. And with the fact that this episode of the Let's Play series was probably put out long after this week's edition of Monday Night Raw, let me elaborate a little bit. It is the Monday Night Raw episode main evented by the League of Nations against Roman and Bray Wyatt. So now you know which episode I'm referring to, and if you still don't, well, that means you weren't watching to begin that you weren't watching to begin with. So what's it matter? As I put together some pre-show matches with Brian Kendrick against Adam Rose and Manu versus Dean Brooks. And the first of the pre-show matches was won by Manu, who, by the way, I don't think actually has had anything above a pre-show match, or a B-show match for that matter. But that's because I'm waiting to bring him in, because I'm trying to figure out what part Manu will be playing in the WWE. Because I want to use him as more than just a jobber. The man who trained Eva Marie, Brian Kendrick, defeats Adam Rose. I just got an idea. But that idea is something I'm going to be doing off camera. But this will be the last time that you actually see Brian Kendrick on the pre-show, because when you see him again, he will be managed by someone on the A show. The show kicks off with a sweet ride pulling up backstage, and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, gets out of the car to a huge pop from the crowd here in Connecticut at the exhibit hall. But The Rock is here, and the announcers, Michael, Byron, and JBL, are questioning what business The Rock has here tonight in Connecticut for Monday Night Raw. But, as you remember back last week on SmackDown, and if you don't remember, here's your opportunity to go back and watch SmackDown, as there is a annotation in the top right corner of this video for you to go back and watch Friday Night SmackDown from last week when this match was made. But as you can tell, The New Day defeats D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry, as I'm assuming a majority of you would be expecting. But also, this happens following the match as The New Day further their attack and beat Mark Henry, both Mark and D'Lo, down even further inflicting the damage on the two veterans of the WWE. One reason and one reason only, and that is told to you in this promo. Because they said that they don't belong here anymore. Xavier would take the mic and say something like this: We said it on SmackDown that they don't belong here anymore, and we would kill the era of Attitude. And this is just the beginning. Because New Day rocks. New Day rocks. New Day rocks. I think establishing them as the enemies of the marks, the people who want the Attitude Era to come back, is the perfect way to go. Because Xavier can talk, Big E can talk, and we found out that because of the New Day. So I'm just going to give them free roam in their feud against the Attitude Era. And I'm not, when I say Mark and D'Lo are just the beginning, it ain't booty. But now we move backstage with Dean and Dolph, and Dean says he doesn't care if Dolph wins, he doesn't care if Miz wins, he wants his fair shot at the Intercontinental title, and will do anything to get it. And now we move forward as Golden Stardust go up against the Prime Time Players as Titus and Darren Young get the victory over Golden Stardust. I will say I have effectively flushed my original plans down the toilet for the tag team titles at the Royal Rumble, but I will say this match has decided who gets the opportunity, but it ain't that easy, let's just say that. Because they might be getting it a little sooner than at the Royal Rumble. Now we move forward as AJ is setting up for her match against Paige by once again bad-mouthing Paige and taunting her to get everybody ready for the match that we've been waiting for. Paige, AJ, another match that was made on SmackDown and set up for tonight on Raw, where the winner of Paige versus AJ will get to decide the stipulation for when Paige faces AJ at the Royal Rumble. And AJ also talks about her comment that started the brawl last week on SmackDown, when she said that Paige was only put in this business because her mother didn't want to get a babysitter. She says it again and says the only reason why Paige attacked her is because it's true. And both these segments basically factor into the other match that was made tonight. That is Seth Rollins and Randy Orton in the main event, teaming up against the WWE World Tag Team Champions Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, as chosen by Stephanie and Triple H. And the announcers were just talking about how J&J Security would factor into the main event, or what Seth and J&J were talking about in that previous segment. As you saw, Dolph fought The Miz to a draw due to double disqualification when Dean Ambrose and Damian Sandow let their presence be known in the match, and it ends in a draw, and now we have a wild brawl spilling out all over the ring and all over the Convention Center in Connecticut, with Dolph, Dean, Damian, and Miz all going at one another. And this brings out Stephanie McMahon, who makes the match official for the Royal Rumble. Stephanie announces that at the Royal Rumble in 2 weeks in Philadelphia, we will see The Miz. A little less than 2 weeks. that we will see The Miz defend his Intercontinental title against 3 other challengers: Dean Ambrose, Damian Sandow, and Dolph Ziggler. Miz is pissed, but Stephanie figures that's the only way you can stop them from fighting each other, and that's exactly what she did, because now Miz will be dropping his odds from 50-50 to 25% that he will walk out of Philadelphia still the Intercontinental Champion at the Royal Rumble, because now he has 3 other challengers. As we move back to the broadcast position and the graphic pops up that later tonight Orton and Rollins team up against Cesaro and Kidd in the main event. First we see double disqualification, now we see a double countout as Paige and AJ ignore the ref's 10 count and are just fighting all over the ring, all over the arena. And the match gets thrown out and is no contest due to double countout as Paige and AJ draw. But now the question is, who picks the stipulation for the match at Royal Rumble? But the fighting doesn't stop after the bell rings, because now tensions seem to be at an all-time high. First with the Intercontinental title contenders and The Miz, now with AJ and Paige. Tensions seem to be at an all-time high for the wrestlers here in the WWE as the Royal Rumble draws close, as Paige and AJ, much like we saw earlier, are also going at one another, and they have to be pulled apart by security and just keep going right after each other. They won't stop fighting despite many attempts by security to break them up. It is an all-out brawl. It is an all-out brawl until the camera loses them and they go backstage. One can assume they get broken up. And now we move back to Michael and JBL and Byron as they talk up the fact that you never have seen that between 2 women. You have never seen that between Paige and AJ. I mean, in the past, we've never seen 2 women hate each other as much as Paige and AJ. But Bradshaw brings up the fact that AJ deserves what she's getting from Paige after the comments she made about Paige's family on SmackDown. But Byron jumps in on AJ's side saying, how does AJ know she isn't right? But either way, tensions are at an all-time high in the Divas division and in WWE in general, and the last 2 matches prove it by both matches ending via either interference or double countout, and 2 brawls happening, and we're not even into the 2nd hour yet. But now it is about time we find out why The Rock is here on Raw tonight, and it doesn't take him long to tell us, because he's here for his cousin Roman Reigns. And The Rock tells Roman a little story. As The Rock says, it's story time with The Rock, because he tells Roman there was a time when The Rock had his critics, but without The Rock's critics, The Rock wouldn't have been born. And Roman you, my cousin, need to do the same exact thing that I did. You need to reinvent the wheel. You need to find yourself, because Roman, you have your critics. You have your critics, and you hear them every single time you come out to this ring. You hear them every single time you stand in this ring and you go for that Superman punch or you land a spear. It is the same way. I'm not saying to change who you are. I'm saying to think about becoming a new Roman Reigns. Because without The Rock, I wouldn't be standing here today. You need to find who you are when you embrace your critics. And figure out that not everybody can be a fan favorite right away. And now we move backstage, and Nikki says she has a proposition for Paige about what match that AJ and her should have at the Rumble, and why Paige should be the one who picks the match at the Royal Rumble and not AJ. But we don't hear it because the two women go into a locker room and they talk about Nikki's proposition. And now we move back out to the ring where Carlito, Epico, and Primo talk about how good it is to be from Puerto Rico, and how the three of them don't get treated with the respect that they deserve, being from Puerto Rico and being born and bred to be in professional wrestling. Because not many people know that Carlito's father, Carlos Colon, because, yeah. And they talk about how they were born to be in this business and they don't get treated with half the respect they should because without their father, they wouldn't be in this business. I guess you could say Carlito and Primo and them, I gave them a role of ironic heels. They don't get what they're saying, but they understand that they're supposed to be saying what they're saying. If you understand what I'm saying. Let's just fast forward to the match. Because this has been a feud for the last couple of months on the B shows, as Carlito and Primo team up against Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, and they win the match due to, well, Carlito cheating, what a surprise, to get the victory over Sabin. And then this happens in the post-match. The Guns get taken by surprise as Epico and Primo and Carlito attack Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, and they are taken by surprise and totally destroyed by the Colognes. That is until a familiar song plays and Rhino interrupts and saves Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley from the Colognes' attack, as Rhino makes his shocking return to the WWE. And now Rhino, Alex Shelley, and Sabin all shake hands, as it seems like we have just seen the formation of a new stable or trio in the WWE with Rhino, Alex, and Chris Sabin. But it looks like either way, it looks like now the numbers are even, as the Colognes don't have the numbers advantage against Shelley and Sabin anymore. Now we move forward as Joe Hennig faces his former partner, David Otunga, in a very short match. But the reason for this match is Ric Flair and Joe Hennig announced that Joe Hennig has now entered the Royal Rumble and will show the untapped potential he's always had by winning the 40-man Royal Rumble and going to WrestleMania to face the WWE World's Heavyweight Champion. And then we move backstage as Seth Rollins and Randy Orton are talking up their main event match later tonight, as the two of them are strategizing and basically questioning each other if they can coexist later tonight or not against Cesaro and Kid, the tag team champions. And now we move forward even more with the semi-main event. Daniel Bryan against Luke Harper. And Daniel, in once again a tune-up match for the Royal Rumble, gets the victory, but it comes at a price. It comes at a price because the Wyatt family attack Daniel Bryan. Much like they did to Kane a few weeks back, the Wyatt family attacked Daniel Bryan, but they can't do much damage as Kane saves his former partner from the attack of the Wyatts, running Bray, Luke, and Eric all off, and standing in the ring with Daniel Bryan. You could feel the tension, but the crowd starts to wonder, does this mean Team Hell No is back together again? But before they can wonder that, we move into our next match as Kevin Owens goes up against Chris Hero. And Owens quickly dispatches his former independent wrestler or former co-worker, and then Owens gets on the shtick and cuts a typical Owens promo building up his match against John Cena for the Royal Rumble. And now we cut to a graphic promoting the return of Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, but the shocking factor is it is not going to be on Raw. It will be this Friday night on SmackDown. That's right, Brock and Heyman will be on SmackDown this Friday night on Sci-Fi Network. But we are not hitting our main event just yet, as we get another surprise. If The Rock wasn't enough, if Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman's appearance on SmackDown wasn't enough, and if it wasn't the possibility of Daniel Bryan and Kane reforming Team Hell No was not enough, then Mr. McMahon is here tonight on Raw. And what does McMahon have to say? Well, Vince says, he talks a little bit about his legacy and the history of this company, and how he used to have an old catchphrase: "You don't cross the boss, and you don't cross a McMahon." The hacker, this son of a... Well, you know what? I'm not even going to try and be Vince. I would let Vince be Vince, go out there and badmouth the hacker, and say how he's a son of a bitch for trying to outdo Vince McMahon and take over Vince's show and hijack his show. And Vince ends this promo, and the point of this promo is Vince is challenging the hacker. Vince is telling the hacker to show up at Royal Rumble. Not with that stupid TV static, and not with that stupid voice. Not with the mystery. He I want you to be in Philadelphia at the Royal Rumble so you can be face to face with me so I can know who the hell is screwing with my show. And that is exactly what Vince would say, and that's exactly how Vince would leave it for tonight's episode of Raw. He challenges the hacker to appear at the Royal Rumble, and then we move back to the broadcast position as the announcers have their minds boggled because they can't believe Vince McMahon actually challenged the hacker to appear, and they wonder, is the hacker actually going to appear at the Royal Rumble in Philadelphia? Will we finally know who has been hijacking WWE television since November? And maybe we can find out why he's been doing it. Huh. I was not expecting this. I was not expecting such a bad main event. But I guess with the fact that Cesaro, Kid, and Randy are baby faces and Seth is a heel, I should have expected a bad rating. And Seth and Randy come to a heated confrontation after Seth walks out on the match as the legal man. You never see that, do you? Exactly. I had to expect it, but it had a purpose, and the purpose was to basically plant the seeds for a feud between Seth and Randy. Yes, I know. Oh, you shouldn't have had the number one contender lose this close to the Royal Rumble, blah, 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 blah. He needs to be extremely strong for Brock. Randy Orton can take one loss where he doesn't even get his shoulders pinned to the mat once. One loss to Kid and Cesaro, who are the hottest team in the company, would not kill him. And if you think it would, then you don't know anything, because Randy, much like Cena, can take a loss once and still come back and beat whoever the hell he wants, because he wins so many more times than he loses. And also, I have SmackDown, I have Raw, and I have another SmackDown before the Royal Rumble. So guess what? Randy is going to compete again, and Randy's going to get his win back. Because I'm telling you right now, the main event of Raw next week will be Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton live on Raw. As we move to, and that is the go home episode of Raw before the Royal Rumble. I know Raw was unruly bad, unusually bad this week, as we got a 69 final rating and increased our popularity in 11 regions, but also lost popularity in 16. But maybe this means SmackDown will be better. Well, to know that, you'll have to tune in and watch SmackDown, which is the next video. Now you know there's a reason why I say this is the most awkward time you'll spend watching a video, because half the time I don't even know what I'm going to say before I say it, which makes it even more awkward, especially if it doesn't come out right. But you should count your blessings, because this is the end of this video, and if you want more of your daily dose of awkwardness, then subscribe to the channel, because right here at Wrestling Express is the only place you can find content just like this. Till next time. Later.